What is up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel, Zagnomics Gaming. Today we are going over Diris. It was brought to us inside of Destiny 2 with Season of the Witch. Now you can get this weapon for free as long as you reach rank 35. If you have purchased the annual pass though, you'll get it immediately in rank 1. Now basically this weapon is a grenade launcher essentially, and it reloads itself from reserves, so you can fire this weapon continuously. There is no reload animation or anything like that. Now of course Bungie does not want to make this weapon too powerful in the sense of PvP or break PvP in any kind of way, but we will touch on that more. But essentially it does not do anywhere near the amount of damage that it does inside of PvE. It's almost non-existent to the point that it almost isn't even really worth using. But I do have some builds to use or utilize that can kind of work around that. And essentially all we want to do is just get a little bit of damage on the opponent and then hit them with the TKO. They're knocked out, done, over with, and then we can move on to the next kills. But we'll talk about that here lately, and I'll probably have another video out going over some builds that relate to that. Now one important feature with this weapon is it does come with the perk Loyal Moths, which basically states final blows with this weapon create a loyal moth. The moth will seek out nearby targets and detonate, damaging and blinding them. So that is beneficial, especially with the new Hunter exotic. And the new Hunter exotic, of course, is called Moth Keeper's Wraps, and you can earn this in the legendary lock sector, or you can use get this in the Vex Strike Force. Now it does have a low rating in Light GG, but I don't want to touch on it too much. But it essentially works with the moths, especially with this grenade launcher. So they kind of work hand in hand, and you're able to continuously throw those grenades and as well as get an overshield. So they are beneficial, and like I said, we're not going to go on builds too much. We're mainly just doing a weapon review, but those are good things to know when actually deciding whether or not to use this weapon. My personal favorite, if I did have to mention the build right now, and of course like I said, we will have a video of this later on in the season. I like Ashen Wake with grenade launchers because if you get a little bit of damage with a grenade launcher, then all you gotta do is throw that Ashen Wake grenade, which is basically the fusion grenade. It explodes immediately and you can pretty much clean up enemies very quickly. But yeah, like I said, we will touch on that more in another video. Now another exotic perk that this weapon has is called Corrupted Nucleosynthesis. I think I'm saying that correctly. This weapon enrages when dealing or taking sustained damage, gaining increased rate of fire while enraged, and the catalyst actually improves upon that, and it allows you to enrage a lot faster. So it allows you to essentially shoot the weapon really fast. I want to say it's around 100 RPM or so when you are enraged. It's like 100, 110, somewhere in that neighborhood, and it shoots very well. Essentially this weapon is basically the Hive Boomer that you get killed by pretty regularly when you are going against Hive Knights. Now being that this is a arc weapon, the exotic catalyst does state it's called Berserk Rush. Weapon enrages faster while amplified. Final blows with this weapon make you amplified. So you do have to defeat 200 targets after you get the catalyst from Banshee, and then you will actually be able to equip it at that point. And like I said, it's a phenomenal weapon. I love playing with it. It's just fun to use. It's one of those weapons where it's like, wow, this is pretty cool. And I love how Bungie is taking weapons from our enemies and pretty much putting a little seasoning on them and then giving them to us. It's very creative. I'm sure there's many other weapons out there that they use that I wouldn't mind using, especially like the Scorn, how they have the flaming torches essentially. That'd be pretty cool if they made like a weapon out of that. One of the biggest things I like is Diris. It kind of reminds me of the Needler a little bit from Halo. It's a very creative looking weapon, and it almost looks like there's like a art crystal. The ornament is amazing as well. It's in my thumbnail, so definitely want to grind out this season and unlock that stuff, especially since this exotic is free. You don't have to do anything to it. You don't have to purchase it or anything like that. Now we will be going over the Tessellation this week. I'll probably have that video out either tomorrow or Wednesday, and we'll be talking about if that is actually worth pre-ordering. And like I said, I am giving away a free copy of the final shape, so definitely subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Now, one thing to mention in my testing in PvE anyways, the moth damage was roughly around 20 to 22,000 per explosion, and of course it does blind nearby enemies. And like I said, it is a fantastic way to, I guess, upscale, put a little season on the weapon, so to speak. And overall, I actually like the weapon. We are going to be playing with it a lot this season just to see what works best with it. Of course, the hunters do have the upper advantage, but I think we could dig a little deeper and find something more enticing to play with, especially with the seasonal mods. Now on to PvP. In short, the weapon is comical and it is still cool to play with, but like I said, you only get 2 shots of special ammo. It's not really the best weapon to use inside of PvP, but I plan to change that. I'm going to see if I can't come up with another build that will be somewhat fun to play with inside of a 6v6 environment. I definitely don't recommend this inside of trials or any type of competitive format, just because it just does not have the oomph that it needs to carry you through the way. But like I said, it's not bad. I think the highest damage that I was able to hit in the gameplay was 114, and that's when the I guess the boomer was like right on top of the enemy. But in most other instances, if it's like 2 meters away or so, or I would say even a meter to 2 meters away, you're only going to get like 40 damage. Whereas if you're right on top, like half a meter or less, you'll get the 114. And I believe we could come up with a build to actually clean them up. And I've already talked about it at first, was the Ashen Wake with the Solar Titan. I think we can kind of make that work a little bit. It just depends on how accurate we can get with this weapon. So definitely stay tuned for that. And you can see in the background gameplay, I was just mainly just trying to play with it and just see how well it would perform. But other than that, there's really no aim assist. There's no right or wrong way to really play with it. You kind of just whip it out, shoot it, and see what happens. So it's not really ideal for PvP, but in PvE it's fantastic. It can fit into a lot of different builds and it can play very well. Do I recommend it in high end game activities? No. I don't see this as like a raid or a grandmaster weapon. It's just a weapon to play through with seasonal content and, you know, just to have fun. That's really what this game is about anyway, is just having fun. And you can even see here with this enemy, I'm only getting like 7,000 damage with the boomer. Granted, he is a boss, but still, it just does not have that oomph, like I said, to carry you through the way for a lot of that harder end content. And right now this is just a regular SAVATHUN Spire event. It's not even legendary. So the weapon itself is very fun to play with. It's a cool idea. It does have the help with the moths. It does build into your grenades and other builds and everything. So those are some cool factors. It does shoot a little bit quicker. It does make you amplified, but it just does not have that raw damage to carry it through the way. But if you want that raw damage in a grenade launcher, you're going to have to reload. So this is one of the weaker grenade launchers that we have, and I think as far as like automatically loading grenade launchers, I think Bungie is kind of worried. Mountaintop was like on top of the world for a very long time, and with the rally barricade you could automatically reload and it would just shoot a straight missile. I mean, it was fantastic. It was fantastic inside of PvP. And I think Bungie is really trying to steer away of making this weapon too overpowered to the point where people are running for their lives inside of PvP, and it is outpacing every other special weapon inside of PvE. So those are my final thoughts on the weapon. If you like this weapon, leave me a comment down below. What's your favorite part or favorite aspect of this weapon? What do you like about it? Also too, leave me a comment down below on what you think of Season of the Witch thus far. I know Crota's End came out a couple days ago. Have you guys completed it yet? Are you guys working on that first clear? Leave me a comment down below. And if you enjoy this content, don't forget to like the video and consider subscribing to my channel. I greatly appreciate it, and it is a free way to support me. Until next time, I hope I'll see you all in the next video.